In this video, I'm going to show you how to place the rear brake hoses on this Honda Accord. They connect your brake line to your rear calipers, so let's get started. Use a 19mm socket, remove all 5 lug nuts, and then remove the wheel. Now with the wheel off, we can see the brake hose that leads from the caliper onto this bracket and up onto the brake line up here. I'm going to use some needle nose locking pliers to pinch this old brake hose off. Now I wouldn't be doing this with the new one, but on the old one this will restrict the flow of fluid as we work and basically minimize the mess we make and the fluid we waste. Follow it up and you'll see where it connects onto the brake line. I'm going to spray this with a little bit of rust penetrant because it is quite rusty. And I want to take a 10mm flare nut wrench, it looks like this, and it grabs onto a couple extra sides. Try to break this fitting free. Often what happens is this fitting gets stuck on the line and it wants to twist the line with it. If you continue turning it like that, it will break the line and you will have to make a new one. But this can be avoided by breaking the fitting free off the hose and then spinning the hose off. So that's why I like to start with this so I know what I'm getting into. As you can see, it is twisting the line. But, it looks like if I just slowly work it back and forth, it is wanting to break free off the line, which is perfect. So because of this, I'm going to actually snug it right back up a little bit so fluid doesn't come pouring out, just like that. And let's work on the other end, because that way, if we have the rest of the hose swapped over, when we disconnect this, we immediately put the new hose on and lose the least amount of brake fluid. On the caliper side, use an 11mm wrench or socket, break free this banjo bolt, and remove it. Have a collection bucket underneath because even though we pinched off the brake hose, fluid will leak out of the caliper. Take this off, discard the 2 copper washers that were used. Make sure they don't get stuck on the bolt. Inspect the banjo bolt to make sure it's in good condition. Mine's brand new, so I know it's good. Take a new copper washer that comes with your brake hose and slide it on the banjo bolt. Put the banjo bolt through the hose, put the other copper washer on, and slide the bolt into the caliper. Make sure the hose hooks into where it belongs, and with that 11mm wrench, start tightening this up. Bottom it out. The torque on this is 26 foot-pounds. Clean any brake fluid that got on here. I know more will get on when we bleed the brakes, but I like to keep things clean. Follow the old brake hose, you'll see where it connects to this bracket with a 12mm bolt. Remove that bolt. Take the brake hose out. Put the new brake hose in. Line up the bolt. Snug this up. Now back at the top, let's unthread this fitting. We're going to unthread it all the way. Remove the hose. Okay, there it is. Let's pop this little clip off that locks in the brake hose. Use some pliers, pinch it and pull it out. Now you can remove the brake hose. I'm going to quickly wipe this area to remove any debris. That way it doesn't fall inside the new brake hose when I poke it through the opening here. And you'll notice that that slot has a flat area. So does the hose. Flat needs to go on the back side. Just like this. I want to lock this in so I have an easier time threading the fitting on. So I'm going to install the locking clip now. Line it up, tap it in. Now you take your wrench. You're going to have to hold that line so it can stay lined up and thread it on. Once the threads catch, you can let go of the line and just focus on turning this. Okay, that bottomed out. I'm going to switch to my flare nut wrench so I can make sure I don't strip out that fitting, and just give it about 1/8 of a turn after it bottoms out. That should be plenty tight. Now that this is snugged up, let's clean off all the brake fluid that got on here. Use brake parts cleaner for that, and make sure you have a collection bucket underneath to catch the fluid. Let's take the bleeder screw cap off of the bleeder screw on the caliper, and with a 10mm wrench, open this up, We're going to perform a gravity bleed, and this entails letting gravity pull fluid through the hose and through the caliper to push all the air out. Now the gravity bleed should get most of your air out, if not all of it, but if you feel that you still have air in the system, you'll see at the end of the video how to do a full manual brake bleed on this whole vehicle. For now, let's just let the gravity bleed complete. All right, we got our steady trickle of brake fluid, so let's close this off. Get that nice and snug and clean it down with brake parts cleaner. Once it has dried off, cap it, pump up the brake pedal. Let's top off the master cylinder. Let's get the wheel back on. Start on all 5 lug nuts, bottom them out in a cross pattern, and also in a cross pattern we're going to torque them to 79 foot-pounds. Once again, 79 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Here we go. Double check them all. Take it for a road test. Under the hood, you'll find the brake master cylinder located on the driver's side, right next to the strut tower. Mine is somewhat dirty, so I'm going to take a rag and just clean around it. That way when I remove the cap, the dirt doesn't fall into the master cylinder, but rather goes to the side of it. That's plenty clean. Turn it counterclockwise and pull it off. Now if you read the cap closely, it'll say that it requires .3 or .4 brake fluid. So make sure you have plenty on hand to do this job. And at this point, I like to start by removing the fluid that's in the reservoir so I can start with fresh fluid from the beginning. There's a little screen here that has to be removed. And I have a vacuum pump that's able to suck all the brake fluid out of the reservoir. So I'm going to stick the hose all the way down in here and remove the fluid. All right, I got all my fluid out. Put the little screen back in. Now let's fill this up with brake fluid up to the full line, which is basically right below the cap right here. Okay, that's full, so let's reinstall the cap. Make sure that's sealed up properly. The sequence for bleeding these brakes is actually a clockwise pattern starting at the driver's front wheel. So you're going to go left front, right rear, left rear. That's how you're going to bleed the calipers. And in between each axle, so after you do the front, you're going to top off the master cylinder. And then again, after you do the rear, you're going to top off the master cylinder again to keep it nice and full. At the end, if you think your brake pedal feels too soft and that there's still air trapped in the system, bleed again in the same sequence, and that should get all the air right out. I have an assistant in the vehicle ready to pump up that brake pedal. And to start, I'm going to take the bleeder screw cap off. I have this receptacle with a hose on it so I can make less of a mess. I'm going to put that on the bleeder screw and use a 10mm wrench to crack it open after they pump up the brake pedal a few times and then hold pressure on it so the brake fluid can be pushed out. Go ahead and pump.
Holding.
Okay, holding, so I'm going to open this up. There we go. That reached the floor, so I'm going to close it back off, and then they're going to go and pump again.
Holding.
All right, open it back up. We're going to do this until we have no more air bubbles coming out. Go ahead and pump again.
Holding.
Perfect. We got 2 clean bleeds in a row. Let's do it one last time, just for safe measure. Go ahead and pump.
Holding.
Perfect. Okay, you can go ahead and let off the brake now. Remove my hose. If anything dripped, go ahead and clean it off with some brake parts cleaner. And wipe it off with a rag. Then go ahead and cap this off so dirt and debris don't get in there and clog it up. Now we're going to do the same exact thing on the right front. And then we're going to top off that master cylinder and move to the rear. Let's top off the master cylinder. All right, we're now at the right rear caliper. We have topped off the master cylinder, so I'm going to take the bleeder screw cap off. Get the same little hose attached to this. With that same 10mm wrench is what I'm going to use to open up the bleeder screw. Go ahead and pump.
Holding.
Okay, holding pressure. Open this up. All right, we got air in this one. Go ahead and pump again.
Holding.
Okay. That's looking better. Go ahead and pump again.
Holding.
Okay. This one was clean. Let's do it again.
Holding.
Perfect. You can let go now. We have no air bubbles. Nice clean fluid came through. So at this point, we're going to clean this area off. Use some brake parts cleaner. Wipe it down. Cap it off. We're going to move to the left rear and do the same exact thing over there. Let's top off the master cylinder one last time. Make sure it's nice and full with fresh fluid. Now our job is done, but if your pedal doesn't feel right, go through the same sequence again until you feel it nice and firm with the engine off and you have no air coming out of the bleeder screws. Once you're done and you're happy, put the wheels back on. The torque for these is 79 foot-pounds in a cross pattern. Take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.